This is Trey Linder from Falco Marketing. Today I have Mike Collins, author of The Perfect Workday. He's a keynote speaker, awesome guy. He lives in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we're going to be talking about his books and what's made him successful. We're sitting here at the Hilton. They're doing some construction on the Marriott across the street, so there might be some little background noise. But let's go ahead and get started. Tell us about each book and kind of your inspiration behind each.
Thanks, Trace. Glad to be here today. It's interesting. The very first book I did was in the mid-'80s, and it was called The North Carolina Job Hunter's Handbook. And I'm like a lot of folks, you and a lot of the folks watching, who I've always enjoyed reading. And if you enjoy reading, one of the things you tell yourself in the back of your mind is one of these days I'm going to write a book. By the mid-'80s, I had a fair amount of experience in corporate world and in small business, and I just thought, I want to try to write a book, and what I knew more about than anything else was getting jobs. And at the time, the economy was not doing well. So I wrote the North Carolina Job Hunter's Handbook, self-published it, had 5,000 copies printed, because at the time there was no such thing as print on demand. And in the summer of 1986, I would load my car with books on Monday morning, I would take off to go sell them, and wouldn't come back until the car was empty. And in the summer of '86, I sold 5,000 books literally from Murphy to Manteo in North Carolina. And it was a wonderful success, and that kind of pushed me into writing and doing seminars full time.
Perfect. And let's go through each book real quick. The Perfect Workday, like I said, was the first one. What kind of gave you that inspiration to write that book?
At the time, I was doing a lot of programs about time management, and so I felt like people needed tips on how to get through their day in a little bit more effective and efficient way. And it just seemed to be a logical jump from what I was doing with seminars. I was doing a lot of writing for magazines and business newspapers at the time. So I just started collecting tips, and when I would interview people for stories, I'd take 5 minutes at the end of every interview, and I'd say, okay, let me ask you something different. What do you do that keeps you going during the day? What do you do to deal with problems? What do you do to get more done? And people would give me tips. And I started collecting those things and put them together, and that's essentially how the Perfect Workday came about.
Perfect. And you haven't just written inspirational books about work. You've also written fiction, and you're also a proud UNC alumni. So tell us about Final Grade, one of your fiction books.
Well, going back to that point about so many of us who read a lot and enjoy it, you talk about one of these days you're going to write a book, and if you read a lot of fiction, you think, well, I can do this. It's not quite as easy as it seems, but I will be pretty candid about this. I came up with the idea. I was in Chapel Hill, living at the time, and an idea for a book came about a guy who ran into a woman he had loved in college. And she was having some challenges, and he helped her through the challenges. I mean, that's kind of the basics of the book. But the odd part is I kept procrastinating, which seems to be an issue I've run into all my life, like a lot of you folks do. And so one day I thought, I'm going to write out the storyline for this thing and then start filling it in. So I sat in a bar in Chapel Hill, and I asked the bartender, I said, do you have any paper? And he said, well, no, we don't have any notebooks or anything. And I took a grocery bag and tore up a grocery bag so that I had a long piece of grocery wrapping paper, and sat there and wrote down the storyline for Final Grade, and then wrote it over the next couple of summers. But it was a lot of fun to write, and it's a lot of stuff about Chapel Hill, football season setting, and I'm getting some wonderful comments about it. So there may be another one of those things in the future, sometime the next year or so.
Perfect. And you're also a keynote speaker. You do a lot of speaking events throughout the week, and mostly on business and success and inspiration and things like that. Tell me, you've helped me quite a bit, kind of creating that emotional attachment, keeping people front of mind, sending them an email or a phone call or things once a week. Tell me maybe your top 3 biggest points that you could, for success, for business success. What are 3 things that people could do that could really kind of get them out of the rut and get them working?
Again, I'll be kind of candid with this. I hear the word passion a lot. And as someone who, I'm in the business of words, so words matter to me. And when people talk about passion, the only time you're going to hear Mike Collins talking about passion is it has to do with romance. But I think of it more as enthusiasm or vibration, whatever gets your vibration up. I think that's really number one, and it's really almost a cliche in terms of talking about following your passion, following your enthusiasms, that sort of thing. But I'll tell you, I run into people all the time who have slogged through their careers because they got into something that somebody told them they should do, or they could make a lot of money and that sort of thing, and they're not happy people. I get up every day. I was looking forward to coming to see you today. I get up every day thinking that it'd be fun to write something, or I get to meet a group of people who are a lot of fun. So that first thing is, where do your natural interests take you? The second thing is some sense of order. Now, by order, I mean, do you do a to-do list? Do you have anything that helps you make sure that you need to get the things done that you are going to have to get done to get to that goal that you have? And I'd say the third thing is your health. And again, this is one of those things a lot of people talk about, but tons of people don't take care of themselves. And I'm not saying you've got to be some sort of body Nazi, and I realize that's a word that's not really popular today, but everybody knows what I mean by body Nazi. But something as simple as drink a lot of water during the day, try to get more rest and get a little bit of exercise. It doesn't take a lot to kind of stay halfway decent shape. So I guess those three things would be the things I would go after. What are your passions? How can you maintain some sense of order and organization as far as getting those things done you have to get done? And then you'll certainly enjoy life more if you stay reasonably healthy. That was a great question. I would say those three things.
Well, perfect, Mike. Thank you so much for letting me interview you today. And is there anything else you want to say to kind of wrap things up? Or
one of the things that I would suggest to people is this. I saw a phrase the other day, and it was talking about so many of us look at life through mistake-colored glasses. We've heard the phrase rose-colored glasses, but a lot of people look at life through mistake-colored glasses. Today's today. Stop worrying about what happened in the past. Start looking ahead to the future, and try to create the type of future you want to have.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much, Mike.
I'm
going to have his books up here as links, so you can click and check them out on Amazon. So definitely check those out, and I'll see you guys next week.